running toward the camera. That'd have been funny if I'd have fallen. Producer's laughing. No, it wouldn't, because this equipment costs. Stan the Annuity Man here, America's annuity agent, licensed in all 50 states, and that means yours. I represent pretty much every carrier on the planet and have the best calculators, period. So should that be the end of the video? No, because we're talking about annuity transfers. You know, should you transfer your annuity? Can you transfer your annuity? This person's trying to tell me to transfer my annuity. Can I transfer my annuity? How does my transfer work? All good questions asked by you, of which will be answered by me after we go through this little. Now I'm going to explain the music video you're getting ready to see, which is really, really good. It's me, of course, different shots of me all over the country as punk rock music plays in the background, and then magically I will reappear. See, and how this is all going to start is I'm going to take my head off, I'm going to hit the camera with it, and then I'm going to come back. Here we go. Magic. How about that? So, annuity transfer, this is really a good topic, and I'm just the guy to talk about it, because it's not cut and dry, it's not black and white, it's not perfect, as you can only imagine in the world of annuities, because annuities is like herding cats. Nothing's uniform, the carriers are all different. Even though the products are commodities, which is kind of funny, they are, which means you should shop all carriers. Should you transfer annuities? Now, some annuities are not transferable, meaning they're irrevocable, meaning like you rip the knob off a water faucet and water flows out. In this case, you rip the knob off the income faucet and income flows out. So the annuities that are not transferable are single premium immediate annuities, deferred income annuities, qualified longevity annuity contracts. Those are pure pension products. Those are pure lifetime income stream products. No moving parts, no annual fees. It's just a straight transfer of risk based on your life expectancy at the time you take the payment. But there's no liquidity. You can't transfer it. You can't say, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to transfer to this one. No, you're going to get your money back in payment form, but you can't transfer it from one annuity to the other. Now, the other thing about transferring you need to understand is like what accounts. Like if you have an annuity inside of a traditional IRA, and we deem it appropriate and in your best interest to transfer it, it will go from this IRA to this IRA. So IRA to IRA, non-taxable event, will not create any taxes, all right? So if you have an annuity outside of an IRA in a cash type account, that's covered by IRS Code. Yes, Stan the Annuity Man knows IRS Code. Code 1035. If you have no life at all, you're not dating anybody, your spouse has left you, kids don't talk to you, and you have nothing to do, pull out the IRS code and read 1035. And 1035 says you can transfer from this annuity to this annuity, and it's a non-taxable event. So when you hear 1035 transfer, that's what that means. So non-taxable event doesn't trigger any taxes. But that's kind of the broader scope of it. That's the 30,000 foot view. Yes, you can transfer, you know, here's your account, here's the transfer. The bigger question is, should you transfer? Does it make sense mathematically to transfer? Why is everyone trying to transfer this annuity, blah, blah, blah? Most annuities that are transferable fall into three types: variable annuities, fixed indexed annuities, and multi-year guarantee annuities. All of those are what's called deferred annuities. So principal is here and you're deferring paying taxes on the gains. So should you transfer those? Maybe. Now the good news is the annuity industry is trying to protect you from the sociopaths and grifters that proliferate any sales environment, including the annuity industry. Annuity industry doesn't have any more grifters and sociopaths than any other sales environment, but they're everywhere. You're going to run across them, right? Especially in a commission world. But how does the annuity industry protect you? Give you an example. Guy calls in the other day and he says, I have this fixed index annuity that I want to transfer to a multi-year guarantee annuity. Okay. So he's going from fixed index to multi-year guarantee annuity. He just didn't understand, it just wasn't sold right. He thought he bought something he didn't. There wasn't anything wrong with the product, it was something wrong with the sales pitch, which happens a lot. So what we said to him is, okay, let us take a look at your last statement, and then we're going to have to run a side-by-side comparison. By law, the annuity industry makes us do this, thank goodness, to see if the annuity that you're leaving has more benefits than the annuity that you're going to. In other words, the annuity that you're going to has to be mathematically in your favor, contractually, and not in the agent's favor. They call it twisting, churning, whatever, flipping, going from one annuity to another. The annuity industry hates that unless it's in your favor, period. So even in the application process, if you said, I don't care what you say, Stan the Annuity Man, I want to do it. I don't care if you tell me it doesn't make sense, I want to do it. Even if you convinced us to do the paperwork, we still, inside that application, have to do a side-by-side comparison to make sure that the annuity that you're leaving and the annuity that you're going to makes sense for you. You're getting more benefits going to the other one. Now, here's the ugly little secret. When companies offer income riders or attach riders to a deferred annuity, that's actually kind of a handcuff, meaning that when you transfer your annuity, you're not transferring that income rider benefit, you're transferring the accumulation benefit. Let me show it to you visually. Draw a line down the blank sheet of paper visually, or do it at home, okay? This side over here is your income rider benefit, separate calculation. This side over here is accumulation value, separate calculation. When you transfer or try to transfer, you're transferring the accumulation. So this income benefit side doesn't transfer, and typically that's higher than the accumulation. So if you transfer, you're going to leave that benefit on the table. Now that's smart business if you're an annuity company because you're trying to keep the person there, the policyholder there, and the only way to access that benefit and take advantage of that higher number is to stay. So in a transfer, it might not make sense, and the annuity companies will not accept the transfer if that side-by-side comparison is not in your contractual favor. Didn't know that, did you? You thought the annuity industry was just wild, wild west, no one cares, they're just wanting commission? No, no, no. The carriers and the industry are trying like heck to protect the consumer from the bad apples out there that are trying to flip and all this other stuff. Now, one more thing, and I know I've thrown you a lot. I'm going to cover a couple more items that are important. If anyone, let me say it again, if anyone ever tells you to transfer an annuity because the annuity you're going to is offering an upfront bonus, I need you to get up and walk out of that office. I need you to, or hang the phone up. Never, ever, 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 ever move an annuity from one annuity to another because they say the bonus will say make up for the surrender charges you have to come out of the annuity. Never do that. The industry hates that, and they should hate that because bonus money is typically not real money, it's vested money. If you think there's a person at an annuity company that wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what? I'm going to give a bonus away to everybody who signs the contract, and it's free money, and we're just going to do that because that's who we are. You're the rube at the table. You're dumber than a box of hair. It doesn't exist. You know that instinctually, okay? So if that agent's trying to flip you from one annuity to another and justifying that transaction because the surrender charges you're going to pay over here, it'll be made up by the bonus, that's garbage. That's French garbage, and it's also, it should be a misdemeanor. It should never happen. In fact, if you have to take surrender charges from an annuity to transfer to another annuity, I'm just going to say, and I've been doing this for a long time. I'm America's annuity agent. I'm the #1 cat out here. I know this stuff backwards and forwards. I'd say 98% of the time, 98% of the time, it does not make sense to take surrender charges and get out of an annuity to go in another. There are just asteroid things, maybe 1 out of 100, that will run the number and say, yeah, actually mathematically it makes sense, and we'll make the case to the receiving carrier that here's the math that it makes sense for this person to do that. But if anyone's telling you to take surrender charges, pay a penalty to move from one annuity to another, 98% of the time it's sales, sociopathic, grifter, nonsense, period. So the question then comes back to the original. Should I transfer my annuity? Some of them you can't. Single premium immediate annuities, deferred income annuities, and QLACs, you can't. They're irrevocable income stream products. But for the others, variables, fixed index annuities, multi-year guarantee annuities, it really comes down to the math. It really comes down to, does it make sense for you mathematically to go from one contract to the other? And 98% of the time, it does not. Where it does make sense if you're moving from one multi-year guarantee annuity, fixed rate annuity to another, you're going from CD to CD in essence. You're going from fixed rate to fixed rate. You're going from apples to apples, okay? But indexed annuity to indexed annuity, if that indexed annuity has an income rider attached to it, most likely you're not going to be able to transfer. I know I got passionate about that. I'm really not that angry. But I do get angry when I see bad things happen in the annuity industry. And a lot of it happens in this transfer world. I did another video. I point over my shoulder fictitiously and look to the sky. And there's a video called What is a 1035 Transfer, where as I went into that IRS code and how it works, etc. It might be a good video to watch after this one. I would encourage you to go to StanTheAnnuityMan.com to use our annuity calculators, the best calculators on the planet, and I represent pretty much every carrier out there, more than anybody out there. And if you're a carrier that I don't represent, call me. I mean, we want to know everybody out there. I think we've got them most of them covered. But you can also go there and read my blogs and read my articles and hear my podcast. And with this, I would videos, you should hit subscribe, because I put one of these out every single day, Monday through Friday. I know that sounds crazy, because it is, but I appreciate you hanging in there with me on a very important topic. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next Stan the Annuity Man video.